One of the big ideas in Changeling the Dreaming is about the struggle between the commoners and the nobility. Um, which might sound weird because it's a game that takes place in modern times, but remember, changelings are basically fairies. Things can get weird and retro. Well, in this book, Nobles, the Shining Host, um, it assumes the opposite of what it assumes in the core rulebook, which for this book means you are playing a noble. In the core rulebook, it's assumed that you're playing a commoner. Um, and it's very strange in Changeling, so I'm not going to explain what a noble and a commoner means. I will, however, be talking about Nobles, the Shining Host. So basically, right in the book, it gives you rules on playing noble characters. It comes with a neat little lore piece about a new, what's called a house of nobility. And it includes a whole bunch of new magic that only nobles can use. Some additional stuff that it has is in the back. It has some sample templates for player characters or for the storyteller to use as NPCs in a game. Each of the chapters is, for the most part, told in character from someone's perspective, which is actually very common practice in World of Darkness, but very much so in Changeling. And in this book, they do it pretty decently. Like, it's not completely in your face for most of it. Some of it is a little strange to follow. Like, there's a little lexicon of terms in the beginning. There's a little introduction on what all of this means. So, Nobles, the Shining Host, ultimately is worth it if you're running a Changeling Chronicle and your players are really into the setting. However, I do not recommend allowing players to play noble player characters. Specifically referring to the new magics that are in the back of it. Magics are called arts in Changeling. The the arts found in this book compared to that in the core rulebook is ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of things in here that could really more or less ruin your game if you allow someone to pick these up. It just doesn't feel nice, I think, if someone is playing a noble and no one else is. Aside from that, though, it's a decent book. The story in the beginning goes on a little bit too long, but you don't have to read it. Also, the majority of the book is a lore piece. It's all about what exactly the nobility are, how their politics play out. It's about how the nobility interact with the commoners. But mostly it's about how they interact with each other, where they've been, what they do, and what they think of the other nobility. It even has some nice little bits on the difference between Seelie and Unseelie. It's pretty nice. Overall, I recommend it, but unlike the Autumn People, I wouldn't recommend that just anyone pick this up. This is something that you'll want to get maybe later on down the line. But with that, have a fantastic evening.